I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting of the Sustainability Advisory Board on Monday, November 4th at 6 p.m. Calling the meeting to order. I see that we do have quorum tonight, although we are missing a couple of members. Is there anyone who would like to make any public comment this evening? If you would like to, you can go up to the podium and no more than 5 minutes. Please start with your name and your address.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Steve Barney, 1335 Summit Avenue. A few weeks ago, I think in September, Greta Thunberg, the now famous 16-year-old Swedish climate change activist, submitted an IPCC report, a report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, to the U.S. Congress as her testimony. A few years ago, I did the same to the City Council. And here is a copy of another copy of what I submitted. These are the summaries of the three working group reports of their latest assessment report, and the synthesis report, which summarizes the entire assessment report. And so each summary includes a summary for policymakers. Now, this is really written for national policymakers, but it's as close as I can get from the IPCC, I guess. They do, however, have there is a chapter on urban greenhouse gas mitigation as well. That's not included. The whole chapter is not included here, but you can look it up online. You go to ipcc.ch, and look for the assessment report from 2000. The fifth assessment report, and it's the report on mitigation. And again, it's chapter 12 for the urban mitigation chapter. Okay. So I have another copy of these summaries, and so I thought I'd donate a copy to you guys as well. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Wiley could keep them. Maybe you could return them to Mr. Wiley when you're done browsing through them. The public library also has a copy of these, but I thought it would be helpful to make it as accessible to you as possible. The city clerk also has a copy. That's where it went when I donated it to the city council. She kind of, holds it. So that's what I wanted to say. Just as Greta Thunberg submitted an IPCC report as her testimony, I am now submitting summaries of the latest IPCC assessment report to you as my testimony.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's nice to see you again. Right, we'll leave them right here and we'll send those with him. Okay, seeing no other public comment, I would like to introduce a new member to you tonight. For those of you who don't know, we now have Brad Spann here. He is acting as an alternate at this point because, as you probably remember, we voted to have 2 alternates added, and we're working into that. So, Brad, would you like to say anything about why you're interested?
Sure, absolutely. I'm a biology lecturer in the Department of Biology at UW Oshkosh. I've been teaching there. This is my 6th year. And I also am the campus sustainability officer this year. And so right now, my position is split 50-50. So I 50% teach and 50% do my administrative work in sustainability. I have actually worked for the sustainability office on campus. I started as a student intern in 2009, and I've consecutively worked every year. So I've been doing campus sustainability for 10 years at UW Oshkosh.
Where does the time go?
Where
huh?
does the time go? Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I am very, very committed and passionate about, committed to and passionate about sustainability, and would love to help lend my expertise to the city in whatever ways that I can.
Thank you. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we'll have the approval of the minutes from October 7th. Anyone would care to make a motion?
Go ahead.
I move we accept them.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on those minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then Stephen and I became aware of the Governor's Executive Order number 38. We did email that to everyone. Did you have a chance to look at it? Okay, well, after Stephen and I read through that, we had decided that we wanted to do some reaching out of our own. So I reached out to Oshkosh's representative. Sadly, I live just over the line, and he's not my representative, but I have adopted him anyway. So I reached out to Gordon Hintz, and Stephen has reached out to the governor's office. And our goal was to find out a little bit more about this and if there was going to be any municipal funding for it or anything like that. Gordon was not able to join us tonight, but he will plan to join us at our next meeting in December.
Well,
So that will be nice to hear directly from someone in the know, and we're looking forward to that. And Stephen, what have you learned so far? So far, because we'll be learning more.
Yeah, so as Margie mentioned, I was asked by my higher-ups to contact the governor's office because I know Steve had approached the council. The council and the city manager had basically directed staff to see what grants and resources were out there for us. And so one of their staff members referred me to the DNR, so the Department of Natural Resources, the Public Service Commission. It kind of explained a little bit about the executive order, and their contacts actually reached out to me. The DNR, I got a letter from them, and they said that they do not currently offer grants, loans, or other types of financial support specifically for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. But we could reach out to Focus on Energy, which I think I'd been in touch with a little bit here and there. She mentioned, the DNR contact mentioned that Focus on Energy has a few programs for municipalities, and she gave me a link to their information, so I can take a look at that. She mentioned the Green Tier Legacy Communities Network, which we are a part of, and reminded me that being a part of that can qualify us for points towards grants that may be out there, that other organizations may have, that the DNR can help connect us with or put us in contact with. So that was from the DNR. Just going to see here. I also had some notes from the Office of Sustainability and Clean Energy, or actually the Office of Energy Innovation, which hopes to be, the Office of Sustainability and Clean Energy at some point. They're kind of going through a process right now. They did put out a RFP for zero emissions or net zero vehicles. We would have to apply by the 8th of November, so this Friday coming up. So that one would be pretty tight, unfortunately. I don't think the timeline for us would be realistic, being honest. But it is an example of something that was put out there this year. She put me, connected me with, they have like a website that has a whole series of links and resources, grants that change, some that may fit us and fit our needs, and some that may not be as pertinent. So that's something that we can kind of keep up to date on, and that I can keep looking at and see what's out there. So I looked at that initially. I'll go back and take a look at it again and try to do that regularly. I think she mentioned Focus on Energy also, so reiterated that. And so that was kind of the main thing from her. So she had a bunch of links that she sent me in her email that I had from her. I did not forward that to everybody at this point, but I do have that. So that's got a lot of good information too. So it is kind of an ongoing process. I still have to look a little bit further into it. But that's where we are right now.
And of course, we're hoping to learn lots more as time goes by.
Mhm.
Is there any discussion on or ideas on any of this, or do we want to wait until Brad? You have a thought?
Yeah, a couple of things. So this came up recently at the UW System Sustainability Conference that happened at the beginning of October, and so all of the campuses send their sustainability representatives to this meeting, and we have some discussion about things going on at the campuses. But this this executive order was sort of high on the list of things that we discussed, and we essentially spent an entire day talking about the way that the UW system will be contributing to this. A couple of things that came up is, and one thing that I like to point out about this executive order is that it calls for 100% carbon-free electricity. And so it does not mention anything specific about heat, necessarily. So you can generate heat from electricity, but we can generate heat in other ways. And so this specifically calls for electricity. And so I think it perhaps needs to be broadened, or perhaps there needs to be a little bit more of some, scrutiny work given to thinking about where the sum total of our energy is coming from. So one thing that I would like to point out is that UW Oshkosh will be running its last year on coal this year. We are no longer burning coal after April of 2020. That comes about as an end of our coal contract, and so I believe 5 other campuses will also no longer be burning coal, and we will be switching to 100% natural gas with low sulfur fuel oil as a backup for when, if there's an issue with the gas line or something like that. That will cut our carbon emissions by 50%. So natural gas is a much cleaner alternative, sort of has a less negative impact versus coal. The other thing that we like to point out is that will greatly enhance or improve our air quality in the area as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good news.
Yes, very good
You were
news.
burning coal for the heating plant?
Yep,
I had no idea.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
That's
still,
Yeah. Okay.
yep. So a majority, I mean, it's every year it's a little bit of a different mix of fuel sources, but yeah, a good majority of it has been coal for the last few years. So.
It was
You're done
probably
with
all
coal.
coal when I was there, so.
Yes, yeah. So they've switched to starting to pipe in natural gas. They also use some sort of recycled material, so like a pelletized fuel product that's derived from paper and the plastics industry. So they can basically make a fuel pellet from that. They try and keep that relatively low just because I think it creates a lot of particulate matter and starts to mess with the mechanics of the boilers and those sorts of things. But
We're going to learn so much from you. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Did anybody else have anything they wanted to share on the executive order or the clean energy?
Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. So at the meeting, at the UW system meeting, I made a contact with Alex Dodd at Focus on Energy so I could reach out to him and see about sort of municipal programming. I know they offer quite a bit of extensive financial support for the institutions. So I can also, just say that I'm on this board and ask about what's offered at the municipal level.
That would be fine,
Sure. Okay.
don't you think? I
Yeah.
know we have another
Yeah.
contact there too.
Yep. No, that's fine.
But yes, it's certainly fine to.
Okay.
We may
Do
get
that.
different answers from different people because it's coming from, it's a different part of it we're looking at then, right?
Sure. Yeah. I need to reach out to him anyway, so I can just sort of ask and perhaps he'll suggest, someone else to contact.
We'll find out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Have a lot of hooks in the water.
Yes, exactly. We're bound to catch something good pretty soon.
So I have a question about this too. When we find, we've kind of we've talked about grants in the past. We haven't actually applied for one, I think, from this board that I remember specifically. Is that something that the city staff kind of works on, or we kind of do it as a collaboration and also help, or we majority do the writing for that? Just so I know what the.
We had actually had a grant very early on. I think it may have predated even you on the board, Michelle, which means I'm going to be the only one here that remembers it. But at that time, I want to say Robin Leslie was here and had applied for something, and we did get a small grant that way, but it did, at that time at least, go totally through staff because we don't have any standing as city. We're not really city, we're just volunteers.
We can't really write as the city. Asking
Exactly,
for
yeah. However, when
Okay.
staff writes something, for some reason, I can sign it. I don't know why that is, but I think because then it's coming from the board.
All right, I would.
But
I
that way
would
they know it's done right.
I mean, I'm sure the city has people too, but I can also take a look at it, seeing as one of my new positions at the university is in the.
Yes, when we
Reward
have a
grants office.
resident expert on anything, I think we should make use of that. Okay, that'd be great. There was also some discussion on WPR that Steve Barney had actually brought our attention to. Thank you. And I was able to listen to that. It was about the governor's task force that he's on clean energy and I'll get that email. I don't know if you
Yeah,
had a chance to
yeah.
listen to it, anybody
I
else,
listened
but.
to we're talking about the same thing. I listened to a recording today.
Right, yeah, it was.
Mandela Barnes talking, and then what, James?
Mandela Barnes, and I want to say Jim Ott, a representative from Mequon, I believe, was speaking basically against it, and of course Mandela Barnes was speaking for it since he's the head of that task force.
Right, yeah.
So it was an interesting discussion, and that is available by going to the WPR website and I searched for Barnes Ott, and it popped right up, so.
I think it came in the link in the email.
Well, that's possible, but not everybody had that link, so I wanted to share this other
Yeah.
way to get there too, yeah. So that was interesting. Okay, any other discussion on this or thoughts?
Yeah, one other item that I was thinking about in just reading through this again. So item under number 2B says ensure the state of Wisconsin is fulfilling the carbon reduction goals of the 2015 Paris Climate Accord, which obviously our federal administration has now removed us from. Would it be in the city's interest to, and I don't know how this sort of formally happens, but to issue some sort of public comment or statement stating that we are continue to be in support of Executive Order 38 and aiming for the goals of the Paris Climate Accord. I know several states have basically said even if the United States at the federal level pulls out, several states are going to remain committed.
Right. And yes, that would be something that, and you and I haven't had a chance to meet yet, Brad, although I do think you met with Stephen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're probably a little bit familiar with the process that we have to go through because we're an advisory board, so we have to give it to the council. But
Yep.
yes, that would definitely be something that we can do and send on up, and I think we probably should, especially now that we have this in our hands and see it right here.
Yes.
Yeah. And something that it would usually go through staff, so like I could propose it to my superiors, and then, they would take it to the city manager if they see fit, and then he could decide whether to put it on a council agenda as like a resolution or something. Council, I think, has done that in the past, when they come out in support of something.
Yeah.
So that's a potential thing that we could look at, but yeah, it usually just has to go through the process and
Sure.
making sure that I get approval from my superiors before,
Before
going
it would
city
go to the
manager.
council, but often it does begin here.
Yep.
And then we write it and then they fix everything up afterwards, so the
Yeah.
staff does.
So we could put it on an agenda
It's
if
in
you
there,
wanted,
yeah.
and then we could come up with a draft. You could take action as a board to request that staff forward it on to the council and the city manager.
Can we put that on January's agenda?
Sure.
Let's remember that at the end. I just know we're going to be really busy in December.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, then. We'll move on to number 5, the city use of weed killers discussion. Adam had asked last month about what, if there'd been any follow-up done with the discussion we'd had with Bill Sturm about the Roundup and its use in Oshkosh and how it was being used in parks and what kind of oversight that had. And so I had reached out to Bill Sturm and asked him if he'd done any follow-up on that or who he would recommend we talk to. And he did get back to me. He did give me several sources to go to find out a little bit more about the oversight on that. And I haven't had time to do it yet, but we do have that. So we are moving. That hasn't fallen by the wayside. I just wanted to let you know that. I don't know if there's anything else anybody wanted to share about anything to do with, let's see if I can say it right this time, glyphosate. Did I get it?
Biphosphate? Yeah, phosphate.
Roundup,
Yeah.
glyphosate.
Does the city have any sort of policy or do they follow an integrated pest management plan for like sort of best practices through like managing grounds in the parks?
I think, Brad, what I'm going to do is refer you back to that. You can watch online that meeting where Bill Sturm kind of went over all of that. It
Okay.
was 3 months ago.
He presented a few months back, yep. And
Yeah.
he explained kind of how they.
I can look it up and send you the link.
Okay,
too.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Because he did. He went through it pretty extensively. Everybody that uses it in the city is certified to do so.
Okay.
But the problem that we ran into that we didn't know enough about was private contractors. The city will contract with someone to take care of a playground or park or something, or Main Street. And then, with the little cracks in the sidewalk on Main or something. And then it was unclear what kind of oversight that had as far as how often it was being used, how strong it was, how it was documented. So
Okay.
that's what we were questioning at
Sure.
that point.
Sure.
But
Okay.
yeah, let me
That
make a
makes
note
sense.
to send you a link or I'll forget.
Okay. Thank you very
I might
much.
still forget, but send link to Brad. Okay. Depends on if I look at my notes or not. Okay, anything else on weed killers? Moving on to the plastic bag update that we sent out. You all got that where it's back in the legislature or being thought about bringing back. That was strictly an update just because 3 or 4 years ago we'd had a lot of discussion about wanting to learn what we could about places where they have banned plastic bags within a municipality or whatever. And just as we were discussing that, the state had basically made a law that said municipalities can't do that. Well, since that may be changing now, I just wanted to let y'all know so that we can dust off our thinking caps and be ready for that when and if that legislation passes or reverses or whatever it's going to do. Okay, back to you, Stephen, with student projects.
Sure. Just 1 second here. So, just wanted to update everybody because I think the last time we met, I did not have it on the agenda as an update. But we have Professor Jim Feldman's class working again with us this fall. So I've met with all 4 of the student groups. There's 4 student groups working on projects. So, one is looking at solar technology for city properties. It could be solar panels, it could be solar powered lights, just solar powered technology and how we can integrate it on the city properties. So that's the first group. The second group is looking at native plantings in our shoreline regulations. So they're trying to look at how we might be able to refine those and improve those regulations and how we can encourage more native plantings and then things to consider with native plantings. The third group is looking at cutting single-use plastics, especially by restaurants in the area, and maybe coming up with a potential recognition program for restaurants that do reduce the use of single-use plastics by a certain amount. And then the last group is looking at local food in schools. So rather than the city being the primary stakeholder, it might be the school district in their case. But we thought that these would be 4 projects that they would be interested in. They kind of had a little bit more leeway to be able to pick what they wanted to work on. So it sounds like they're doing pretty well. I met with all the groups initially, tried to connect them with different stakeholders. And then I also met with one of the group members today to give her some more information. She had asked me to meet and discuss, answer some questions and stuff that she had. So I've had one come in. Hopefully the other groups will come in for progress meetings going forward. It'd be good to see all of them and connect with all of them again. But they are supposed to present next month at our regular meeting. So between Representative Hintz, if he's able to make it, and then these groups, it'll probably be pretty full, but look forward to them coming, as they always do. I'm going to invite council. Hopefully they can try to make it. The city manager and other city staff that have been involved too. And then anybody from the community that's interested is always invited to come.
I had one of the groups reach out to me too, and I met
good.
with them, so.
Sure.
Yes, we definitely know they're working.
Yep.
Okay, the electric vehicle project. Stephen, did you have anything to share on that?
So on that one, as I mentioned, I reached out to my boss and his boss and kind of talked to them about it. And they suggested that I reach out to, there was some city staff that would know more about the vehicle inventories and what vehicles we have, what fleets we have, than some of us do. So I reached out to staff. They do have the information, it sounds like. And now it's just a matter of taking it to the city manager, and getting approval to keep moving the process forward. So it's in progress and we're still working on it, but I know you'd asked Eric about it.
Well, I hadn't heard from you. I was just curious, so I sent the email. So,
So
And the good news is that we don't have to do the inventory. The city does have that available, so.
there is information, yep.
just out of, do they have? I guess I don't know how the city vehicles are stored necessarily. I know there's quite a few fleets. Are they all stored in a single place? Are they a take home? Do we have some fleets that are take home fleets, or?
They're not gonna be a single place, I know that, because, you have, like, police and fire are gonna store theirs, obviously, in their respective
Right.
locations, and then you've got, like, all the sanitation, the snow plows and stuff that are stored there. Public Works has those vehicles, and their various divisions have those vehicles, so, we can get that information, I believe, but I know that they're not in a central location, for sure.
Okay, I was just thinking that you were talking about solar installations for what the students were working on.
Yep.
And that could easily just be rolled in as like a cost-effective measure for
Sure.
the vehicles themselves. They could, do the math for us, basically.
Yeah. Sure.
Any other thoughts on this anyone wanted to share? I'm still all excited about our speaker last month, about and I have to say, this morning on my way to work, it was really weird because I had oncoming traffic. There were 3 Teslas in a row,
Wow.
2 S's and an X, and I was trying not to drool. Okay, I was drooling. Anyway, yes. Okay, moving on then to Lakeshore Master Planning process. I bet anybody who's read the Herald has a pretty good idea of where we're at this point, or has watched any of the meetings. Do you have things you wanted to share on that? Or, I don't know if
so-
we have anything official other than,
I think the last Advisory Parks Board meeting was October 21st, so just a couple weeks ago, I believe. And I think they're presented the preferred alternative or preferred concept design for the Lakeshore Park Master Plan. And then I think Plan Commission, Common Council are the next steps. So I know we've shifted it around on the Plan Commission agendas. We've got a number of agendas coming up. I can't remember if it's gonna be the second one in November, or if it's gonna be early December that it goes to Plan Commission, but it is coming up for final approval.
and for those of you who haven't seen it, it's going to be a 5-phase plan. And it's rolling out kind of slowly, it looks like. but it was interesting. And it had some of the things that we'd recommended, and we take what we get. Okay, next, Menominee Shoreland Restoration. Since Michelle's here, let's have her give us an update.
Sure. So we actually had a great educational event at the end of October with some UW Oshkosh students and some 7th graders, where we did a little scavenger hunt with the younger kids, and we talked a little bit more to the college students about the whole project, history of it, and its importance and that kind of thing. And then the 7th graders and college students worked together on finding the plants and talking about them and things. And we actually had the college students plant some wild hyacinth in there as well, which is a nice native that's, I believe it's endangered. Don't quote me on that. But it's definitely a plant that we want to have in there. So they were able to plant and help us put that in our viewing area because it is a lower growth flower. We wanted to put in that was worked out through Oshkosh Housing Authority. So yeah, it was a really
Awesome.
cool collaborative event. So we also collected some seeds from the milkweed to be able to use for different butterfly projects and things like that. And in November, we are going to be having a fundraiser with Benvenuto's. That's going to be November 25th.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, I love it. So it's nice because Benvenuto's does it all day, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. when they're open. You just have to tell them that you're there for the Friends of Menominee Park Shoreland, or even if you can get out Menominee Park Shoreland or the Shoreland fundraiser, anything like that, then they'll know that you're wanting to support our group that day. And then they usually do 20% of the proceeds then goes to our group. And we are 100% donation funded. We don't get any city money. So anything you can do to help support us, and also by helping a local business, it's great.
They do
Put
a
that on
good job for a number of organizations.
They do, and the food's great. So, November 25th is what day of the week?
I should know that.
I
Monday
thought
or
you might.
Tuesday, those are the ones that they were giving.
Okay, so early in the week.
It's early in the week, yeah.
Oh, is that that's the week of Thanksgiving?
It is.
Yeah.
So I know you all are going to be, cooking later that week. So if you want to take a break,
Go out to eat early in the
not a bad idea.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Monday, November 25th.
Got it.
And who wants to cook on a Monday anyway?
I mean, really, everybody
really.
should just go out for dinner
Let's
that
go
night.
out for dinner. It's for
Lunch,
a good
dinner,
cause.
drinks, whatever.
Yeah,
All the
there
above.
was a year, I think it might have even been last year when we did this fundraiser. I got mine delivered still.
Oh, and
with
that
the
counts
fundraiser.
too?
So, yeah.
Oh.
So,
I
as
didn't
far
know
as
they
I know.
delivered.
Yeah.
Oh, delivery counts. Okay. Got her covered. Maybe we'll just
So
give everybody Benvenutos for Christmas early.
Right? I'm hoping I can get some flyers for people to hand out and things like that, but I haven't gotten them yet, so I don't know if we're going to have them. So just make sure you mention it, and you'll get the same thing.
Okay. Well, and that was that it from Menominee Shoreland?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, well, that segues real smoothly into social media discussion and action. So, Vic, are we going to be talking about this Benvenutos night on our Facebook page?
Yeah, we can definitely make a post about that. I can add that. I've already sent Stephen the No Waste November themed posts. So look for those soon. It kind of starts with a trash audit, auditing what it is that you throw away on like a weekly or daily basis, and then has some tips and tricks to kind of reduce those common waste items. Those posts will be coming very soon. More posts than normal in a month. Instead of 2 a week, I've done 3 a week. So had lots of things to say. No waste is one of my passions, so you can kind of see that through the additional postings. Per discussed last month, December post will be about electric vehicles. Lots of information from our guest speaker last month, Jane. So look for those electric vehicle posts coming next month.
I will.
Yeah, one of the things about Benvenutos too, they don't automatically give you the straws either.
They do not.
So
All their
little
silverware is real,
connection.
not
Yeah.
plastic.
I also heard recently from a very, very good source who was on board the ship at the time that Princess Cruises has now gone to paper straws. And I'm thinking, well, you're out there on the ocean, you know?
Still a cruise.
I know, it's still,
Yeah.
I know, but
Bunker fuel,
digress.
we'll talk.
baby steps, Vic, baby steps.
Okay, fine.
Okay, anything else on social media?
No.
Okay. Well then, agenda items for future meetings, keeping in mind that December is chock full already. And in January, we want to have, to write a resolution that we'll do before the meeting so that we can possibly go ahead and approve it then and move it on through Stephen to the other sources it needs to go to. Anything else we need to look at in January or any other time next year? In January, that is also the time that we have traditionally done a workshop afterwards where we kind of identify all of our,
Good idea.
yeah. So it tends to be a long night for us, but it's a short night for the televised meeting, and then we go into workshop to figure out all the things that we'd really like to tackle. Maybe plastic bags will be on there. Who knows? It could be a really exciting 2020.
And it's perfect right after the December meeting when we've just had our student presentations from UW Oshkosh. So we'll maybe have some low-hanging fruit.
Yes, we'll have lots of new ideas. Okay, then, if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, wait, I should say first, our next meeting is Monday, December 2nd, and we will be having the UWO students. We hope to have Representative Hintz if we remain on his calendar, if nothing more pressing comes up. And now I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.